So, you've finally said that thing to that person that you've been over contemplating for a long time, right? And then you get a reaction from that person, right? And then that person ghosts you, right? And then you're sitting there in confusion, trying to figure out what it is that happened, right? And then all of a sudden, that leads you to another event and another event that are also similar, which then leads you into therapy, right? And then therapy leads you into introspection, an opportunity to look at yourself, right? And so then you then find out in therapy that what you did with that person and those other people was actually set a boundary. You are communicating what it is that you think and feel, and the other person and those other people, they didn't like it. They don't like boundaries, right? And so that's why you were ghosted. And so then you find yourself in therapy and also by yourself asking yourself, what did I do? Maybe I shouldn't have done that. I regret that. It was very comfortable to have those people in my life, and now they're no longer there. Am I wrong? I must be wrong. I have to be wrong. I mean, I've been wrong before, so I must be wrong now. And I've been abandoned by people, so maybe it is me. Maybe I'm the problem. Maybe I am inherently defective. And then you start to sit with it a little bit more, and you start to realize that you've never actually gotten what it is that you need in relationships from people. In fact, instead, the way that things have been a very unbalanced dynamic of you giving way too much of yourself to other people, and all the while you settle for scraps from others. Because of this belief that you have that you are the problem, that you are not right, that you are inherently defective. And so what really happened was that you got angry. You bubbled up, and that's it. You communicated what it is that you felt, and the other person and those other people, they didn't like it. You set a boundary, and the other people didn't like it. So again, you find yourself in therapy, sitting there. Anxiety ridden. What did I do? What did I do? I shouldn't have done that. I really shouldn't have done. Oh man, this is weird. Now I'm looking at myself. Oh geez, I'm looking at myself. Oh goodness, I'm looking at myself. Oh fuck, this is scary. I'm introspecting. There's an entire universe that is me that I have opened up, that I have been so blind to for so long because I have neglected the hell out of myself for so long that now I'm looking at, and it's really scary to look at this because I feel vulnerable. I feel like an open wound. Shit. And then you keep going, right? You keep introspecting. Then you start meditating. The more you meditate, the more you see yourself. The more you see yourself, the more you see all this shit. The more you see all this shit, the more you realize that you don't want anything inauthentic in your life anymore, because you actually want to work through the shit that you see there. And so then the people that you do see in your life, you start to see their shit. And you start to see them not dealing with their shit. And then you start to see yourself not dealing with them anymore because they're not dealing with their shit. And so that's not attractive to you. And so then therefore, you start to feel something. You start to feel different about the entire situation. You start to think, And so then you start to have conversations with them. Hey guys, how do you feel about personal development? let's get the fuck out of here. They leave you. So then, you start to think about it again, and you're like, shit, I did something wrong. Fuck. And then you regret what you said. Shit, I shouldn't have talked about personal development. I shouldn't have. That was wrong. I shouldn't have done that. And then you find yourself in therapy, and you communicate. I tried to talk about personal development with these guys, and they left me. And then your therapist laughs. Ha ha ha. And then you start to sit with it after introspecting more, and you're like, oh, personal development is awesome. Maybe they just don't like it. Maybe they're just scared to look at themselves, because as I've discovered, looking at myself is kind of challenging. And so then, therefore, after trials and tribulations and more experiences with all that stuff, you find yourself alone. And then you start to think to yourself, I feel like I am where I have never been before. I have not put my feet down on the ground. This is entirely new turf and territory. I'm still learning how to breathe the oxygen. Wait a second, is this even oxygen? I can actually breathe now. Before, I couldn't breathe. It was as if I was breathing carbon dioxide or something. Wow, my lungs have gotten bigger. Oh my goodness, look at all these people around me. What do I do with this? I can be myself? What is myself? Who am I? Who is this? Wow. When you are where you've never been before, you're in a totally new space of awareness. What was familiar is now gone, but you still have attachments to it because you're healing and you're learning how to cut those strings. And whatever it is that keeps you connected to that will probably always be there and always have that kind of a, hey, I'm still here. You can still go back to it. You can still go back to me. But then you realize that that is no longer attractive, and you're creating this new ego state, and you're letting the old one die. When you realize you've never been before where you are now, it's kind of challenging to actually put your feet down, to step on the turf, and to start trusting. It's challenging to open up and talk about things because you don't know who's going to leave. But then, you also start to have much less of a tolerance for bullshit. So when someone does fuck with you, you don't fuck with them. You see it for what it fucking is and you get them the fuck out of your life. Just like that. Lickety fucking split. When you've never been before where you are now, and you start learning to trust the territory and the turf and the ground that you can actually stand on. Oh, it's softer than it was before. Before it was hard as concrete. If you fell, you hit your fucking head, and you likely did some damage and you fucking regretted it. If you fall now, it's not so hard on you. It's a different space of awareness. A lot of people that were in your life back then are not now anymore. And now you don't really know what to do with the people in your life that actually want to connect with you because you're afraid that they're going to hurt you. When you realize that you've never before been where you are now, that's when there's nothing but potential.